So in this class we shall learn about alternating current generators. It is actually a device that converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. So we will discuss this topic, alternating current generators. So this is a device that converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. The power supply that we get at homes is an AC supply, and there are large AC generators at power stations which generate this AC EMF and supply it to various places through wires. And finally, at home, we are getting this AC EMF. However, in between, there are several other procedures, and we will discuss when we discuss about transformers. So, in order to understand how this alternating current generator works, we have to understand two basic principles on which this particular device works. First one is electromagnetic induction. You might have already read this earlier in earlier classes, and here I will just revise what is electromagnetic induction. Suppose there is a coil. So this is a closed coil, and this is the magnetic field. The symbol indicates that, the cross sign indicates that magnetic field is inside the plane of the board and perpendicular to the board, and this coil is on the plane of the board. Suppose we pull it like this. If we pull it like this, there will be change in magnetic flux. Say this coil moves to the new position like this. If it moves to a new position, there will be a decrease in magnetic flux. And as the magnetic flux changes with time, an EMF is induced in this coil. This phenomena is known as electromagnetic induction. Now, second important principle that we will discuss here is Fleming's right hand rule. Let us see what is Fleming's right hand rule. Fleming's right hand rule. Now this is the right hand. Now here, as you see here, this is the thumb, this is the forefinger, and this is the middle finger. We stretch these fingers in such a way that these fingers are mutually perpendicular to each other. Now suppose this forefinger points towards the magnetic field. This points towards the magnetic field B. Then this thumb points towards the motion of the conductor. Suppose this is the conductor. This chalk may be assumed to be a conductor. Suppose it moves along this direction, along the direction of the thumb. Then this middle finger will indicate the direction of the induced current. That is, current will flow along this direction. So that is the right hand thumb rule. So we can, Fleming's right hand thumb rule. So it can be stated that if thumb forefinger and middle finger of right hand is stressed and mutually perpendicular to each other, then if the forefinger points towards the magnetic field, thumb towards the motion of the conductor, then middle finger will indicate the direction of current, the direction of induced current. This is in accordance with the Lenge's law. You might have already read about the Lenge's law. That is, the direction of the induced current is always in such a direction that it opposes the cause producing it. So this is in accordance with the Lenge's law. So this you have already read in the chapter of electromagnetic induction. Now let us come to alternating current generators. Alternating current generator is based on these rules. Now let us see what are the various parts of the alternating generator. Now, parts of the AC generator. First one is armature. The armature is simply a coil containing several turns. It can be drawn like this. I am drawing only a single coil, but there are several turns in this coil. It can be shown like this. There are two terminals which come out of this coil, and this is the portion where the current is drawn out. So this is the armature. And surrounding this is the field magnets. You can draw, it is concave in shape. You can draw it like this. Say north pole is over here. This is the north pole of the magnet. You will get south pole over here. This is also concave in shape. So this is also concave in shape. Now this is called field magnets. Field magnets. Right. Then you have these two terminals. This coil is rotated. This coil is made to rotate. That is, the armature is made to rotate. Suppose we rotate it using a handle. So there is a handle over here. We can just show it like this. This arrangement will rotate this armature. So it is rotating along this direction. So in the clockwise direction. When this will rotate, this ends of the coil, that is A, B, C, D. This will rotate, and when this will rotate, this will cut the magnetic flux. When this will cut the magnetic flux, current will be induced in this coil. And when this current is induced in this coil, the current will flow through these terminals, and these terminals are connected to slip rings. There is a part called slip rings. This is attached to the terminals like this. So we have two slip rings connected to each of these terminals. So they are connected like this. So when this armature rotates, then this terminal will also rotate, and along with this terminal, this slip ring will also rotate. So these are the two slip rings. Now when current will be induced in this coil, then this current will come on this slip rings, and this has to be drawn out. So this can be drawn out from these two brushes. This part is called brush. So metallic brush. This just touches the slip rings. So there will be two brushes like this. The purpose of this slip ring or the brushes is to just draw out the current that is given in the slip rings. Now this can be connected to a resistor, say external resistor like this. This is the external resistor. So what are the various parts of the AC generator? The parts are armature, then field magnets, then slip rings, and these are the two brushes. So basically we have these four parts. So we have understood the construction of the AC generator. Now let us understand the working of this AC generator. So next topic is working of this AC generator. Working of the AC generator. Now we'll draw the field magnets like this. It is not that the field magnets are so much apart. just for sake of convenience, to show the various positions of the armature, I am drawing it far apart. Now, initially, suppose the armature has this position. This is the position of the armature. Like this. Say this is the arm A, B, C, D. This is the north pole of the magnet and this is the south pole of the magnet. Direction of the magnetic lines of force will be along this direction. The direction of the magnetic lines of force. Now, initially, if this armature is in vertical position and suppose it is made to rotate in the clockwise direction like this, in that case, this part and this part, that is AB and CD, both will move parallel to the magnetic lines of force. So they will not significantly cut the magnetic flux. So initially, at this position, the EMF generated will be 0. We can show EMF over here and we can show time over here. So, suppose it is made to rotate further and it becomes horizontal. So, this coil attains this position. That is, this end AB will be like this. And this CD will be like this. Now when it starts rotating, the direction of the induced current according to the right hand Fleming's rule will be along this direction over here, and in this conductor it will be along this direction. So the direction of the electric current will be like this. If I say electric current, that means it is the direction of the conventional current. So how much time will it take to rotate from here to here? The time required is T/4, where T is the time period of the entire cycle. Now this is kept rotating along this direction with a constant angular velocity omega. Now, if it is rotated like this, AB will go down and CD will come up. So, we will get the position of AB like this. AB. And you will have CD like this. That is, this CD which was in the lower portion, it will come up. The direction of the current will once again be the same because it is rotating in the same direction. So direction of the current will be along this direction. Now let us draw the graph. Now here as I said that in this position, this end and this end, both will move parallel to the magnetic field, so they will cut minimum flux. So in this case, EMF is equal to 0. Whereas when time is T/4, the coil becomes horizontal, and in that case, this will cut, the rate of cutting the flux will be maximum. So here in this case, you will get maximum EMF in this position. Once again, when it becomes vertical, again the ends AB and CD, both, they will cut minimum flux. So once again the EMF will be equal to 0. once again the EMF will be equal to 0. Now once again, suppose it becomes horizontal. It will become horizontal once again. That is, the corner AB will come here. Like this. And CD will come here. Now this position corresponds to time. This corresponds to time 3t by 4. During 3t by 4, once again, the ends AB and CD will cut maximum flux, but the direction of the current will become reversed. So here, in this case, corresponding to this position, the EMF will be maximum in the negative direction. Now here in this case, as I told you, EMF is 0 because it is cutting minimum flux. So we can show it like this. Now once again it is getting turned like this in the clockwise direction. So once again AB will be on the top. This is the end AB, this is on the top, and this CD will be on the lower part. Now the direction of the current is again like this. The direction of the current will again be along this direction. And again it will be equal to 0. So corresponding to this position, the EMF will become equal to 0. The EMF will become equal to 0. So we will get an alternating EMF like this. We can also find out what is the expression for the instantaneous EMF. Expression for the instantaneous EMF. Now suppose this is the coil. Which is rotating. Rotating along this direction. So this is the end AB, CD. Suppose we look at this coil from this side. Then we can see BC like this. This is the direction of BC. So this is the end BC. Now this A is overlapping B and D is overlapping C. So it can be shown like this. So this is the coil having, say, N turns. So number of turns equal to N. Number of turns is equal to N. And suppose A is the area of this coil. Capital A is the area of this coil. Direction of the area is perpendicular to the coil. So this is the direction of the area. It can be shown as vector A like this. So this angle is 90 degree. So this is the direction of the magnetic field. It can be shown as vector B. So this is the angle theta between the vectors, vector A and vector B. It is angle theta. And this can be given as omega t, where omega is the angular frequency of rotation of the coil, and t is the instant. Now, suppose we draw a vertical line like this, the vertical line. Now, if this is angle theta and this is 90 degree, obviously this angle is 90 degree minus theta. Once again, this is in the horizontal direction, this is the vertical direction. So this is 90 degree and this 90 degree minus theta. So this angle becomes theta, and that is equal to omega t. So component of A along the direction of B, or component of B along the direction of A, this can be written as B cos theta along the direction of A. Then we can say that the flux associated with the coil is equal to number of turns multiplied by B dot A. So that is equal to N multiplied by BA cos theta, and theta is equal to omega t. So we can replace theta by omega t. We can write this as NBA cos omega t. So this is phi. That is the flux associated with the area of the coil. Now, according to the Faraday's law, we can write E is equal to minus phi d phi by dt. So that is equal to, here NBA is constant, so we will rewrite this. If we differentiate cos omega t with respect to omega t, we get minus sin omega t multiplied by omega. As we have minus sign over here, we will write minus sign over here. Now this minus and minus, this becomes positive. So ultimately we will get NBA, and omega is also constant, we'll bring it over here. So sin omega t. Now number of turns in the coil is constant. The magnetic field associated with the coil is also constant. Area of the coil is also constant, and omega is also maintained constant. So entire this expression will be a constant, and this can be written as E naught sin omega t. So we have got a relation E is equal to E naught sin omega t. Now E naught will have a maximum value when omega t is equal to 90 degree, or say it is 3 pi by 2. In that case, the value of E will be maximum. So this is the expression for the instantaneous EMF. Now based on this, we can solve a few numerical problems. The question is, there is a rectangular coil of dimension 0.1 meter into 0.5 meter. There is a rectangular coil. So there is a rectangular coil or the armature. Now this has dimension of 0.5 meter and 0.1 meter. And number of turns is given as 2000 turns. Now the speed is given as rotating speed that is equal to 2100 revolutions per minute RPM, and the magnitude of the magnetic field is given as 0.1 Tesla. So what is the maximum EMF of the generation of the generator? Also you have to find out what is the E when theta is equal to 30 degree. Now as we know that E naught is equal to NAB omega. Now here we have to know the value of N that is already given to us, that is 2000. Area can be found because this is rectangular, that will be 0.5 into 0.1. Value of B is already given to us. And from the rotating speed we can calculate what is omega. So this is rotating speed is 2100 RPM. So this can be written as 2100 divided by 60 revolutions per second. So this will be the time period of revolution. Time required to complete one revolution. So we can find out what is omega. Omega is equal to 2 pi by t. We have calculated the value of t over here. So that is equal to 2 multiplied by 22 by 7 divided by 210 divided by 6. So if we calculate this, we'll get the value of omega. Now we know the value of I'm sorry, this is the frequency. This is the frequency of rotation. This much revolution. This is the frequency of revolution. Not the time period, the frequency of revolution. So we can find out omega by using the formula 2 pi n. So we can write omega is equal to 2 pi n. That is equal to 2 pi into 210 divided by 6. That is equal to 2 into 22 by 7 multiplied by 210 by 6. So now we can calculate. So that is equal to 44 multiplied by 5, and that is equal to 220 volt. Thank you.